Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of Criminal Minds Evolution, Episode 1 and Episode 2. They gave us both of these episodes on Thanksgiving, so, why not have a little bit of a feast talking all about them?
Who thought for Thanksgiving that they were going to have Rossi dropping the F-bomb? Man, we've covered this show here for quite a while.
Yeah.
Criminal Minds is one of my favorites. I absolutely love this show. It was always a show that I was like, wow, I can't believe this is on network TV. It's so dark. Like, this is incredible that this is even airing. And now that it is on a streaming service, Rossi's dropping the F-bombs. It's gotten so dark. I mean, it is really, really good. If you are on the fence about going and checking this out, don't be. It has gotten better.
I'm mad about one thing. Why was this not on sooner? And I'm not trying to be like a hyperbolic, network TV quote guy here. It's just like this was so good. It surpassed my expectations, immensely. I just feel like Erica Messer and the team, now that they have this sort of venue, they were just like, let's give people a legitimate, pun intended, evolution on Criminal Minds where everything felt similar and yet just a little bit different in a way that just really worked for me.
Yeah. And the one thing that I really like about this that was different when they were on network TV is that this is more serialized so
Yeah.
far. We had a couple of arcs that would go over an entire season here and there, but it really was still procedural where you would get the case of the week and get in and get out. They have set this up so beautifully 10 out of 10 that we have this huge arc that's threading through all these different things of this killer network of
Yeah.
people. It is so well put together. 2 episodes was not enough.
No, no. We'll get more into that, more into the cases, more of course into our favorite agents. But before we go further, hit that subscribe button now because we will be here through all of Criminal Minds Evolution, talking about what is making this new version of the show work. We don't want you guys, of course, to miss any of that.
We're also covering Yellowstone and CIS. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow us over on our Instagram, Matt and Jess TV. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there who is celebrating and watching the show with us.
Yeah. Now, since you mentioned the network of, killers and these people that have sort of gotten together through the health crisis, I'll start by sort of saying that usually I don't care that much about the unsubs on this show. I find that a lot of them have kind of blended together in my head over the years, and I'm more typically about the agents. But a big part of the reason why is just because the unsub cases usually go by so fast that I have no opportunity to really remember them. But I think this is framed in such a smart way where it's sort of it's almost like you're playing a video game and you get through a boss, but there's still another boss that is lurking around the show, around the corner, and you're like, oh, I still have to fight that? I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and the way that they've crafted it, that it's sort of once we've gotten through sort of the crisis and now we're on the other side, what does that look like for people who are killers? And there hasn't really been anything like this on TV. So I'm very excited about where this is going to be going.
Yeah, it's surprisingly topical. It's really relevant, and I think they did a really good job too of sort of making it clear that, all right, we haven't seen these characters in a while. They've gone through a health crisis. They've gone through all these other things, but it felt like there was a legitimate passage of time, and it's good that we didn't just pick up where we left off. It was nice just kind of having these updates on these agents over the course of these episodes. Even if it wasn't, it's obviously really serious for some people, but for others, not so much. I was just so happy to see Prentiss again. And Prentiss had some really good, just one-liners through these episodes too.
Okay, so before we get into everybody who is there, let's talk about the 2 people who are not there.
Yeah.
Matt Simmons, he is not there. They have mentioned him. Spencer, not there. They mentioned him as well. And they basically had this line in the show that was, they're not able to come back right now, but they're welcome anytime. And I was like, oh, ow,
No.
oh, they're welcome anytime. But
Yeah.
we know that Daniel is over on the Wheel of Time. He is working on another show right
Yeah.
now, so that is why he is not there. And Matthew is just not back right now. And could he change his mind? Possibly. Anything can happen. But as of right now, he is not coming back.
I feel like, I'm not expecting either of them to be there this season. If they are, I will be happy to be, I will never be happier to be wrong if they make a cameo. But what I'm hoping is that this season ends up being really successful. And I feel like it probably will be. Like, Criminal Minds is huge all over the world.
Mhm.
That I think maybe through a lot of that, it'll make somebody like, especially Matthew, who's been there from the beginning, sort of be like, oh man, I really miss these guys. Even if I don't come around maybe show up for an episode or two. I know it's harder with Daniel, but how about you just, you fly back from wherever in the world you're filming this show, you change into the suit and, just be Matt Simmons again for a minute or two.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the characters and where they are
Yeah.
right now. So we saw that, speaking of Spencer, JJ is having some problems at home with her husband. And when we last saw JJ and Spencer, they kind of did talk a little bit about how there were some feelings there that were unresolved, but because she was married, she was just like, and there's nothing that can be done about it. I'm committed to where I am, and that's the way it's going to be. Which at the time I was like, that's the way it's got to be. Not just because we didn't know if Spencer was going to come back or
Yeah.
what was going to happen with the show or whatever. I didn't want to see JJ leave her husband and leave her kids and start, whatever, destroy her marriage. And so I was like, okay, this is great. But now here we are a little bit later where I feel like, oh man, you guys can come for me in the
Here we
comments.
go.
The chemistry wasn't there between these two. I don't know if it's because they're having trouble matching up their work schedules and things are just not coming together for them. I didn't feel a connection with them really anymore. There's a part of me in the back of my head is like, is it because you're in love with Spencer? And you just couldn't get past it? You tried to do the right thing, but he's in the back of your mind this whole time? I don't know.
If
I don't know.
If AJ Cook was in the room with us, I would be really curious to ask her that question. Like, does she think that, Spencer Reid is still somewhere in her character's head? Because something is there. Like, there's something that is disrupting this relationship with Will, and it wasn't really spelled out what exactly it is on the show. Like, I think they care about each other, and I
Yes.
think they want to, make things work for their family. And I think maybe it is all just a symptom of the stress of the past couple of years and their schedules and all this other sort of stuff. But it was clear that something was off, and maybe that will be paid off through the rest of the season, and we'll get a chance to kind of explore it a little bit more. But I
Yeah.
do think you bring up something interesting in just that. And having Spencer not be there and still having question marks, they have given themselves license to explore it down the road, even if they don't do it now.
So it was really wonderful, of course, to see Prentiss back.
Ah,
She's looking beautiful. She's got a promotion. It was really great to see her back, especially how clever and quick she is to still pick up on things. Like, of all her team, she can pick up quickly.
yeah.
Rossi's still not doing very well. And then she's picked up so quickly. Tara's in a relationship with somebody else that's there,
Yeah.
another woman that's working there, and she picked it up in like a second. I didn't see it. She saw it right away.
Prentiss is just so smart, and I think Paget plays it really well too, because
Yeah.
she doesn't make Emily into this like character who like walks around and reminds everyone how smart she is all the time. Like,
No.
we all know that person, by the way, but no, she's just innately, very on top of things and very hyper aware, and it was great to sort of see her in action and sort of be one of these people who's sort of rounding up the team a little bit. And Rossi especially, Rossi needs either a hug, or therapy or just like I don't know, a lot of just comfort. Rossi probably needs a Thanksgiving dinner or something because man, he's having it rough.
Yeah, the last time we saw Rossi, he was getting married. So everything was really going really well for him. His wife has passed away, and it is in such a way for him that he can't even stay at the house. He has moved into a hotel he was living in a hotel at the beginning of these episodes. By the end, he had, checked out, which was a good move. But man, he was treating everybody like crap.
Yeah.
He's swearing up a storm. I really, really like that scene where, Garcia's not back, but she had kind of come in through like a Zoom to talk to him briefly, and he was being really rude to her. And she was like, nah, I'm not taking that
Yeah.
from anyone, and I'm absolutely not taking it from you. Goodbye. Boop. I was like, whoa, okay, right on.
Garcia was incredible throughout. So weird that she's doing like virtual Bridgerton at one point early on in this. It's okay. I feel like this is something that like just Kirsten came up with and like went and talked to Erica about. It's like, wouldn't it be really funny if we have her doing? It's just so unbelievably random, but at the same time so Garcia, and it just felt like okay, this is someone who is moving on, developing some new interests, and
Mhm.
she's really realized being at the BAU, yes, you are doing a heroic job. You are saving lives, but you are also probably making your own life really miserable and stressful and hard.
Yeah, and it was a decision that she didn't take lightly when we saw the finale for her to leave. And she, wrote that whatever she wrote on that little piece of paper and
Yeah.
folded it and left it there. We saw that come back into play where we still didn't see her, what it was on the other side of
Yeah.
it. But it was definitely a journey to get her back into this. And it's because somebody is communicating with her through software that she has put together for a sort of teen chat that it's now really pulled her in, where they're basically like, we gave you this information so that you could have actually stopped this, but instead you just gave it, to the FBI, and now here we are, sort of thing. And it was enough to actually bring her back.
Okay. Here's my one beef with these episodes, and I think they did a lot of things well. I think they dropped the ball on Garcia and Alves and everything that was like we had the sort of line where they briefly explained and referenced, oh, we met up, but we decided we're better as frenemies. And it's just like
Frenemies. Oh my goodness. Listen,
yeah.
when they ended this show and Luke was like, yeah, I didn't want to ask you out because we work together. Guess what? We don't work together anymore. Want to have dinner? And she was like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay. This is great.
Yep.
Like there was some very serious chemistry between these two throughout. And then to get to that point where it's like they finally had moved past this thing where Garcia was basically like in the playground and like, I don't like you.
Yeah.
You're replacing, someone that I love. I'm never going to like you. I was just like, okay, this needs to end. She's an adult and it's got to be done. And then it was. And I was like, okay, now we're getting into this space where they're becoming friends. And then now he's like, let's go out. And she's like, okay, cool. Yeah. Then there's this throwaway line in this where it's like, yeah, we went out to a lunch and it didn't work out because nobody knows. I'm hoping that it's actually going to come up later what happened there. If maybe she was feeling insecure and she was like, no, or the chemistry that they thought was there wasn't there, which I don't believe. If they go in that direction, I'm going to call shenanigans on that. But like, my beef, here's my beef, okay, is when they were sitting together and she was like, oh, we're frenemies again. I was like, I didn't like this to begin with.
Yeah.
You can't go backwards. You can beep, bop, 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 boop, back into the past and just make this be the same thing it already was. If they've moved past the frenemies point to the point where it's like, we're going to go on a date. Okay, it didn't work out. You don't like revert all the way back where she's like, again, hitting him like they're in the playground. Man, I was like, no.
Okay, this this is the only way that I'll be okay with them doing what they've done. And I'm with you. I don't like the frenemies thing. I wish they didn't go back to
Just
that.
be
Yeah,
friends. It's fine.
I would have been fine if they went back with friend. But I think in the end, if they're doing this to set up that, they are going to get together and we're going to see the journey on screen as opposed to just starting off and the two of them are
Mhm.
together and we've sort of missed that process. Like I can reconcile it. Like I can be okay with it, but even with that, the frenemies thing is just unnecessary. We don't need that dynamic. There, you could have always just brought in a new character and had some playful ribbing around that person, but not even make it the same as what we had with Alves. Like there could have been ways to change it.
They can still have the playful
Yeah,
ribbing and be friends. That's what you do with your friends. It felt like such a regression that I felt like I did when I was first watching Luke come in and she was just so against him being there and she didn't want, you
yeah.
know, any sort of replacement for anybody and she just wasn't giving him a chance, but they had moved past it. I'm really hoping that they find a way to move past this again and at least let us know what happened.
Yeah.
Why did that lunch go sideways? Like, what happened?
Hopefully, we get more answers on that soon. We're certainly going to have more fun moments with everyone in the BAU. It's like there's a lot of just heart pounding, hyper intense stuff. They did a really good job of just bringing us back into Criminal Minds. Like
Oh, yeah.
you set it up earlier. It's like if you guys are on the fence about this, like I get it. It's on streaming. Everybody's making you pay for streaming right now. It's a pain.
It's so worth the money. The
Yeah.
show is so good.
All right. Well, hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss our upcoming reviews on Criminal Minds Evolution. Check out our other coverage, NCIS, Yellowstone. We'll see you here next time.